As I mentioned in my last video, sumatriptan is a drug designed to alleviate the symptoms of migraine headaches. The pharmaceutical company GlaxoSmithKline held the patent on sumatriptan in the United States until recently, and produced it under the name Imitrex. But now that their patent on sumatriptan has expired, any company will be able to manufacture and sell sumatriptan in a generic form. This will cut into GlaxoSmithKline's profits, because they will no longer have a monopoly on sales of sumatriptan. Other companies will be able to compete with them. However, GlaxoSmithKline had a backup plan for when this happened. They are now marketing a new drug called Treximet, and trying to convince patients taking Imitrex that they should switch to Treximet. So, what is Treximet? It is a formulation consisting of sumatriptan and naproxen. Naproxen is a generic anti-inflammatory painkiller that is available over the counter as Aleve. Naproxen is often used on its own to treat the symptoms of regular headaches and migraine headaches, just as sumatriptan is used on its own for the treatment of migraines. Yet, although sumatriptan is now available in generic forms, as is naproxen, the combination of sumatriptan and naproxen is not, because GlaxoSmithKline has patented it. They are now the only ones who can produce Treximet. They can charge as much as they want for it, and this is why they want patients on Imitrex to switch to Treximet. They're trying to persuade them that Imitrex is no longer sufficient for treating their migraines, because they don't want to lose all the money they're getting from these people. If it weren't for Treximet, all the people taking Imitrex would just switch to buying generic sumatriptan. It's the same thing, and theoretically, it would be less expensive. But if these people can be convinced to switch to Treximet, they're still buying from GlaxoSmithKline, without any pesky generic manufacturers eating into their profits. I wonder if these people would still switch to Treximet if they knew they could instead take a dose of generic sumatriptan with a dose of Aleve. Of course, combining drugs increases the number of possible side effects. So, with Treximet, not only do you have sumatriptan's increased risk of heart attack and stroke, but also naproxen's potential to cause gastrointestinal problems like bleeding and ulcers. But if people really do want to try this combination, then they're perfectly capable of doing it on their own. They don't actually need to go to GlaxoSmithKline to get Treximet. Of course, GlaxoSmithKline's sales figures rely on patients not knowing this. And once their patent on Treximet expires, just as it did with Imitrex, they can easily do this all over again. They can combine sumatriptan with ibuprofen and sell it as a new drug, and convince everyone on Treximet to switch again. Once that patent runs out, they can combine it with aspirin, and then acetaminophen, and so on. Please, don't fall for this. Learn to recognize this sort of thing, and learn how to look out for your own best interests as a patient and as a consumer.